Primal Chaos. Hey guys, Primal Chaos here, welcome back to the channel. Look, you know, I haven't been back to Japan in a while, and one of the bands that I feel like I haven't really given enough time to is BabyMetal. And, you know, I've only done 2 of their songs, and they're really the band that's responsible for taking me down one of the deeper rabbit holes, which is sort of that Japanese metal pop sort of fusion thing that they got going on. And I've discovered a lot of really great bands like Guitarist Spin and Bandmade and things like that. Bandmade's another one I've got to get back to. But in this case, I thought these guys are quite interesting in that they have just an amazing backing band, and, you know, their performances are kind of unique and different. And they're kind of like one of those bands that were just a breakthrough here in the West, sort of opening up the gates for all of these other bands to be made available, you know. So at least into the zeitgeist of like, you know, the Western culture anyway. These guys have toured the world extensively, played all of the major festivals and stuff like that. So, you know, they're nothing if not taken seriously by at least a segment of the metal population here, you know, in the West. So, you know, they deserve a little bit more time, I think. I'm going to do Catch Me If You Can. I have no context for this one. I don't know anything about it. It seems a little long. It's like 6 minutes, so we'll see how we go. But here we go. BabyMetal, Catch Me If You Can. Come on. Was cool. Okay. Come on. That must have sounded great live. Just, you know. Alright, so before we get into it, there's a couple of things already I want to talk about. First of all, the first guitar player to solo. It's interesting. They've got just like a standard single chord group, you know, that just flows through, which gives you a fair amount of sway as to how you're going to take a solo, right? Because you can pretty much do anything you want. And it's funny, both of the guitar players and the bass player actually have chosen to do really sort of atonal solos. Like they're just more dissonant than anything. It's like they're just going to play whatever they want over that chord regardless. And it just sounds more kooky and esoteric that way, and it's really interesting. But the thing that struck me as strange is that first solo used a technique which you don't often see used like to that extent. Oftentimes it's used as like a little bit of a like a flourish, right? So essentially what they were doing, got to turn the guitar on. There we go. Was that they would just, this is a whammy bar, right? For those of you who aren't guitar players, this is a whammy bar or whatever you want to call it. And essentially what its job is to sort of stretch or release the tension on the strings. You can make like a wobbly sound. Now normally what you do with that is if you played a note, you know, and you just want to just give it some vibrato or something like that. That's what it's for. It's for subtle sort of things. Or if you're doing like really heavy sort of stuff, you can literally dump the strings to the point where they're slack and they're just like rubber bands, you know. And that's used fairly often since they created locking tremolos, locking nuts and floating tremolos. You can do that and it'll still go back to being in tune, right? But what they've chosen to do is play the solo while scooping the whammy bar with this hand so that none of the notes are really in key. And they're doing... I'm just trying to figure out how they did it. They've sort of dumped it into a harmonic as well. Like that sort of thing, you know. But see, I've seen the whammy bar sort of trick used before for just like just for little runs like that, to make, instead of just being like, it sounds kind of a little bit too natural, you can sort of lean on the whammy bar a little bit and just, you sort of bounce it, you know, like. And it just makes everything sound just unusual and sort of kooky. And that was just really cool. They did their entire solo like that. That was great. The second solo was very much like, you know, standard playing. But it was, you know, a lot of semitone shifts and stuff in there to sort of just make it, again, sound as wacky as the original one, but their guitar doesn't have a whammy bar, so they have to figure out another way of doing it. And a lot of times what they were doing was bending notes out of pitch and things like that to sort of give the same effect. Just doing normal guitar string bends, you know. But that was super interesting. The drum solo was tight as. That was just super, super awesome. And I can imagine, like, live, the weight of those kick drums and the tom hits through a PA of that size, just, it's all-encompassing. You feel it more than you hear it, and that would have just been brutal. And of course the bass player was doing some really cool sort of stretches and tricks and stuff like that as well. Dude, the Kami band, is it Kami band? I still haven't sort of gotten all the names down yet. Are just, yeah, Kami band. They're just, they're rock solid players. They are world class. And I mean, no one's ever really denied that. They're essentially a session band. So, that have sort of, I guess, become more permanent fixtures nowadays. They've had a few lineup changes and stuff like that. Or have they? No, it looks like they're all pretty much 2013 or 2015 to present. They just keep adding members. Okay. I don't know who the Avengers are backup dancers. Okay, right. So I'm still finding my feet with BabyMetal, so you're gonna have to forgive me for that. But man, so far, that was great. I mean, obviously we've come in at the point in a show where the girls go off stage and take a break and the band has their moment in the sunshine, so to speak, and do their solos. Sometimes what they'll do with rock shows is they'll have like a break, you know, 2 or 3 breaks throughout the show where the guitar player will have a solo break and then the drummer 3 songs later will just do a drum break, a bass player will have a go later on, things like that. So sometimes they'll double up, but in this case they just did one sort of performance where everybody gets a run at it, you know, and to demonstrate their skills outside of the songs that we know and love, right? So let's jump back in. The girls are about to start doing something. Oh, that snare sound too. Wow. Okay. So this is a collection of live footage from different shows, different eras. Because you doing metal is in the video. Jesus, this is brutal, man. crazy. This is wild, man. So there's got to be a payoff to like shift to a major key or something. I'm assuming that's coming up. You got to have the Saturday morning cartoon vibes, otherwise it's not Japanese metal, right? What a great melody. Again with the dissonance. It's like, let's make everything sound off and off kilter. It's all chromatic, you know? Double time. Come on, man. That's filthy. That is just metal AF, man. I don't care what anyone says. All right, hang around after the break and we will give you a final summary. Hey guys, this video is made possible by Enchroma. 1 in 6 guys and 1 in 200 women are colorblind, and if that happens to be you, there's something you can do about it. Click the link in the description, it'll take you to Enchroma's website where you can get a free eye test. And while you're there, maybe pick up some corrective lenses. They've got styles to suit everybody and a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got really nothing to lose. And while you're there, use the code CHAOS in checkout to get 10% off. Tell them Primal Chaos sent you. Yeah, so that part during the breakdown in the middle 8 where it goes like really like red and dark, that's what I imagine like idle hell looks like. Oh my god, it was just so intense. I think it's around here somewhere. Yeah. Like I just picture it like you die, you get hit by a truck, right? And you wake up and you're basically standing at the back of the auditorium looking down and you see this and all of these demon souls as the audience and just flames going and brimstone and fire and they're just like row, 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 row. And then Nadia. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. It just makes sense. Oh man, that was really cool. Look, you know, with the other songs I've done, I think I did Gimme Chocolate and Road of what was it? Road of Resistance. That's right. And I think both times people were telling me, look, it's not really the kind of thing that BabyMetal's currently doing. From memory, I know definitely with Gimme Chocolate, a lot of the fans are like, yeah, it was the big hit, but it's not really who they are now, sort of thing. So I wanted to do something more recent. This is from I think 11 months ago or something like that. And I can see now, like there's much more of like a freedom in the metalcore experience of the backing music, so to speak. Like I think, you know, as much as the girls, you know, obviously became more seasoned performers and stuff like that, they've got definitely, you know, more range and stuff like that in what they do, but they're still kind of doing the same stuff. But it's really the music in the background that's, you know, potentially evolved a little bit and become a little bit more sort of esoteric and a little bit more niche within the genre of like metalcore sort of instrumental tracks, right? But wow, man, like it was just punchy. I love it when bands are brave enough to really, you know, move away from like the diatonic sort of aesthetic of like everything has to make sense musically, and goes more into the, you know, I mean as soon as you start drop tuning your guitars, a lot of that goes out the window anyway, because guitars don't intonate as well, and so they always sound a little bit more chuggy and dissonant and things like that. And it's a lot easier to sort of bend notes with, you know, when you detune, and unless you obviously go to an extremely high gauge string, you know, you can really get those sort of wobbly bends and stuff like that going, and make things just sound really kooky. And so I think that like it's all par for the course. Everything sort of drives towards that sort of crazy mismatched sounds, like tonally, right? You know, bands like Meshuggah are geniuses at that sort of stuff, where they can just take just random noise and it's a song, you know what I mean? And that's kind of more along the lines of what this track is. It's just so much crazy dissonance, but because there's a certain amount of culture imbued with this as well, at some point, that's how I totally predicted it. They were going to go to like a major shift that where everything makes sense, you know, like musically. And then the beauty of that is it's like this island within this miasma of just chaos, right? Where you can find your feet again and go, okay, cool, I got something to pump along to, and it's like, you know, I can sing to this and stuff like that, and it's got that sort of Japanese cultural sort of uplift within it, where it's happy and cheesy for a minute, but then it just reverts right back to the chaos again, you know? It's just like the boiling pits of lava around this little island of sanctity, you know, right? And so then, you know, they've managed to even make it more brutal for like the breakdown sort of area, and of course the visuals helped a lot with that too. And you know, you got the audience participation, caller response, hey, all that sort of stuff. This is just a killer song. Like I can imagine if this came on at the show, I would be super psyched if I was a fan, right? Because it's just going to just boot your ass. That's essentially what it comes down to. Yeah, no, this was really good. I've really got to make sure I continue down this rabbit hole. The problem is I'm just getting pulled in so many directions now. And you know, I feel like every time I do something and it gets a great response, I owe it to those people that came along for that ride to sort of venture down that rabbit hole as well. And so you end up sort of getting pulled like taffy and stretched. So, but I will get back to these guys. I will definitely get back to BandMate. Someone commented the other day and said, well, it's been a month, man. When are you getting back to BabyMetal? You know, and I'm like, okay, I definitely must. Not BabyMetal, BandMate, I should say. But, you know, I've got a Guitarist spin video coming out, I think, pretty soon as well. Those guys always sort of blow my mind. So, but yeah, this was fantastic. I had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed the reaction. If you do feel like I've brightened your day at all, feel free to just support the channel by buying me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm getting awfully close to getting 10,000 subscribers, which is it leaves me speechless. It really does. It seemed like something that honestly some guy like me on the internet just would never dream of. And so, you know, I might as well make a push for it, right? Like I'm thinking I'm 8.5, somewhere, maybe low 8s. So if we can get to 10K, I'll be forever in your debt, everybody. So if you're someone who regularly watches the channel and hasn't clicked subscribe, maybe hit me up, do me a favor and lock it in. And you know what? I'll keep doing this sort of stuff. So thanks again, guys. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.